How I came to see money differently. Hello, my name is Zach Bowman. My goal is to help educate people on the power of money. I've never felt so convicted about something in my life aside from my faith in God, loving my family, and trying to be a good person. And my belief that Bitcoin is going to fundamentally change the world's financial system. Ever since we came off the gold standard in 1971, the dollar has lost over 80% of its purchasing power. Groceries are more expensive, houses are more expensive, cars are more expensive, everything is more expensive. Pardon my French, but it's fucking absurd. Money has always been at the forefront of my mind. Everything revolves around it. Going to a good school, buying a safe car, having shelter, traveling, starting a family. Everything equals money. Without it, you're screwed. But it wasn't until 2023 that I realized something deeper. Money itself is broken. I worked hard my whole life. When my dad got laid off while I was in college, it was incredibly stressful. I remember sending him job postings thinking I could somehow fix the situation. That was back in 2012. Looking back, if I had understood then what I understood now, that the money system itself was broken, I could have changed the trajectory of my life entirely. But the truth is, I didn't have the conviction back then. Even if I had bought Bitcoin, I would have sold it the first time it went up 5x or 10x. I wasn't ready. I also didn't understand what was going on inside of me. I was running from myself, from childhood trauma, the death of my best friend, and an undiagnosed Lyme disease that left me sick and stuck for years. I was exhausted, constantly stressed, always trying to figure out my next move. Studying engineering in college felt like a failure with no idea what I was actually going to do or where I was going. One constant thought of it all, though, was my family. My family has kept me intact when everything else felt like it was falling apart. I love them deeply. As the oldest child, I felt a responsibility to make sure everything and everyone was okay, to take care of my parents when they got older, to someday buy a lake house where everyone could gather in the summers. That responsibility weighed on me heavily. At my lowest point, I was so sick I genuinely thought I might die. I was bedridden, completely drained, sick as hell, unsure if I'd ever get my life back. All I gotta say is God is great. I truly believe He helped transform my life. I believe we are all conduits, extension of something greater than ourselves. So what's our purpose? I think our purpose is to find something we believe in and commit to it for decades, to build families, to travel, to create, to thrive. I believe we're meant to thrive on this earth. God wants us to succeed, but our money system makes that harder and harder. People are working 2 to 3 jobs and barely scraping by. A normal car payment is now $500 to $700 a month. Housing feels completely out of reach for an entire generation. What are we working for? We can be laid off at any moment. One injury or medical emergency can wipe out years of effort. There's no consistency, no stability, just constant pressure. I found Bitcoin when I was at my sickest, alongside gold and silver. A massage therapist of all people told me, dude, this is going to change the world. I started researching slowly at first, then obsessively. 21 million coins. Forever, permissionless, borderless, incorruptible. I bought some Bitcoin without realizing what rabbit hole it would have opened. I still have the old paper notes from 2023 that say 1 Bitcoin equals $27,000. I think about that a lot. If only I had bought more. If only I had discovered it earlier, back in college instead of spending money on beer. But I wouldn't have held it. I know that now. I wasn't convicted yet. Back then, Bitcoin was also harder to buy and store. Wallets were confusing. Exchanges were sketchy. It was really the wild, wild west back then. Today, you need a solid exchange and a good hardware wallet. That's it. You actually control your money. For the longest time, we've given banks and money managers permission to use our money to make themselves richer, while skimming fees off of what we worked hard to earn. It's made up fiat. We print hundreds of millions of dollars every single day. Some of it replaces old money, sure, but we also issue massive amounts of new digital credit as if it's nothing. Billions here, hundreds of billions there, it's insane. Housing is unaffordable. Interest rates punish new buyers. 2 people can buy the same house and pay radically different prices simply based on timing. People are getting rich off of fake money while everyone else struggles to afford groceries. That's not a free market. That's a broken measuring stick. Gold and silver have done well recently and they matter, but you can't send them over the internet. We live in an internet native world. Disruption happens everywhere. Blockbuster, Redbox, Netflix. Taxis replaced Ubers. Hotels disrupted by Airbnb. Cash replaced by Venmo and Cash App. People don't even want others seeing how they spend their money anymore. What happens to privacy? Bitcoin isn't private, it's a public ledger, but it's honest. It doesn't lie, it doesn't change the rules, and the adoption is real. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF reached 10 billion in weeks, something that took gold years to achieve. Bitcoin doesn't ask permission. You either understand it or you don't. Bitcoin is the only thing that makes sense to me. I hope you guys have a great night.